and public leaders in the United Kingdom worry that a recent influx of Muslim immigrants may pose unique, religiously based challenges to science. Debates about the proper relationship between science and religion are under the glare of a global spotlight, and scientists are often at the center of these debates. As Eklund and our colleague Elizabeth Long explain in an article they wrote for Sociology of Religion, scholars and public intellectuals almost uniformly perceive scientists as the carriers of a secularist impulse, a group responsible for building the modern research university and undermining religious authority by their success in deciphering the mysteries of the natural order without recourse to supernatural aid or guidance. Scientists have long been viewed as strong carriers of the process of secularization, and building on the social thinker Max Weber's ideas, scholars have assumed a linear relationship between science and secularization, regardless of differences in national culture and science infrastructure. But research looking only for secularization, or lack thereof, among scientists has major blind spots. It ignores the religious life histories of scientists and the various ways they might use religion or spirituality, whether or not they are religious in a conventional sense. There is good reason to believe that the relationship scientists have with religion is more complex than a linear version of secularism would predict. Eklund's previous work surveying U.S. natural and social scientists revealed that nearly 50% of scientists in the United States who work at top research universities have some form of a religious identity, though it is often very different in character from the religious identities found among the general public. In addition, she found that more than 20% of atheist scientists consider themselves spiritual to some extent. She calls this group spiritual atheists. There have been other studies of what scientists think about religion. Like Eklund's earlier work, these studies have largely been based in the West, conducted mainly among U.S. and U.K. scientists. The psychologist James Luba, for example, conducted surveys in 1916 and 1934 on the attitudes of American scientists toward Christian belief, defined as participation in Christian worship and acceptance of the Christian theology of life after death. He discovered that these scientists were less likely than the general U.S. public to believe in God, and the most successful scientists were the least likely to be religiously involved. But those studies and others like them were conducted years ago. We wanted to look at what modern-day multi-country research could tell us about the religious beliefs, practices, and attitudes of scientists in different national contexts. Before we conducted our research, it was unknown, for example, how the religious character of a nation, such as whether or not the population is highly religious, the presence or absence of state religions, or varying levels of secularity, influences the country's scientific enterprise. There was also little knowledge of the factors that influence how scientists think about religion, or how their religious views are changing the character of the sciences. Without such analyses, we can only claim that scientists are relatively non-religious and assume that science made them so. We cannot accurately understand the social variables that influence religiosity and how these differ among scientific disciplines and national contexts. From a scholarly perspective, we reasoned that our research examining the beliefs of scientists would provide insight into the major theoretical issues related to religious change and the impact of science on religion, and religion on science, in different national contexts. Our goal was to understand how science is related to ideas about secularization, or the decline of religion's vitality and influence among scientists and societies. For policymakers,